Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I'm Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Postmaster Dan Ryan.
Why Postmaster?
Because we're doing listener mail. Or
listener
that's
request.
right. There it is. We haven't done a listener request episode in a long time, so tonight we're hitting the old mailbag to answer your burning questions. That's
right in the bag.
Definitely a euphemism. Prepare yourself for some truth bombs, because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
Right in the yam bag, even. Fucking yam bag.
Hi, everyone. It's episode 403. It's the week of March 25th, 2022. And Dan, I have breaking news, sir.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. It is now 8:52 p.m. At approximately 8 p.m., Nintendo dropped a new firmware update for the Switch. Motherfucking folders.
Oh. It's about goddamn time.
I am so excited about this. But what's awesome is I'm looking at the site, and I want to see. Here's the notes right at the top, and you'll know exactly which one made me the most excited out of these. All software menu and groups are only available when more than 12 software titles are saved to the Switch system. That's fine. You have to have at least 12 games to make folders. That makes sense. Otherwise, it's just the front page. That's fine. Up to 100 groups can be created with a max of 200 titles per group. That's awesome.
That seems like a lot of games to have on your Switch.
The same software title can be added to multiple groups.
Oh, that's the one.
That's the one right there.
That's the one.
I can put a game in multiple folders. Oh.
Yep. I don't know why that matters, but that matters.
Oh, God, it does.
It's huge.
Because, like, so if I want to have a folder that's like, well, these are all the Mario games, but I'm also have a folder of these are the games that I'm trying to beat, I can put that game into both folders. So if John's looking for Mario games, he doesn't have to look through games I'm currently working on. You know, oh my God, I cannot wait to go up. Like, as I was getting ready to come down here, I just fired up the Switch and hit the software update and then came downstairs. So I haven't touched it yet. I just, can't wait.
Yeah, no, that's real good.
Like,
that's good.
Is this all that's in it? Because I think it's 14.0, I think is the, this is a 0.0 update, so it's definitely a big one, but I wonder what else is in it. I mean, obviously folders is all anyone cares about. I
was going to say, do you need anything else?
Themes? I mean, I don't think it's themes. I feel like if it was themes, I would see it already.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like, I've seen a few, I've just seen a few posts on Twitter about it, but, all right, patch notes, here we go. Groups, which is folders, and Bluetooth audio volume behavior was changed.
Thank God. You know the problems I've been having with Bluetooth volume behavior.
Man, you got some serious ass Bluetooth volume behavior problems.
Oh man, I do indeed.
I tell you, Dan, I was doing okay today, but this really bucked me up even more. Well,
that's good.
Genuinely excited to get on my Switch and start making some fucking folders. I've wanted to organize that shit for so long. Oh.
I know, I need everything organized. Yeah,
like, I have so many goddamn games on my Switch. Like, it's fucking stupid. I mean, I don't even think I think I'm a little behind on my cataloging, because I do catalog my digital shit because I'm a goon.
You are a goon.
Switch is at, how do I tell how many this has in it? See, I have the digital. Oh, it's I have 180 digital games, and the physical games. Let's bust open Game Eye. Nope, that's Safari. The logo for Safari and Game Eye are very similar.
Nope, that's Safari.
Nintendo Switch. There's going to be one more physical this Friday when Kirby comes out.
Ooh, it's a Switch.
And another... Kirby's going to be my 60th physical Switch game. How cool is that?
Very?
I don't know, kind of.
It's mid? I don't know.
4 out of 10. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 5 out of 10. No, it's mid. It's mid.
All right, so yeah, I have 59 physical games and another 180 digital games at least.
Jesus Christ.
So
that's a lot.
I mean, it's definitely more than that. Like by not many. Like I feel like I must have gotten like maybe 3 or 4 more games. I just downloaded a free game the other day called Words with Freds.
With Freds.
With Freds.
I love Fred.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what it's about. I don't care. I went to check something on the eShop, and on the front page was like free Words with Freds. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I gotta have it.
Gotta have it. It's the
Words
right
with
price
Freds for free. I'd be a fool not to.
You're losing money.
Oh yeah, good times. What you been up to, huh? What you been up? You been playing some games?
Oh, God, no. I wish. I wish. I haven't, like... So, let's see. Tuesday last week. So I finished the last Uncharted. I think I talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so, like, I didn't really have a chance to do anything Monday. And then Tuesday, as soon as I got home from work, one of the ladies who does the pickups for the rescue came to my house and was like, here, you have 5 dogs of your own, so I don't see any problem with dropping off 8 additional dogs at your house for you to deal with. I was like, no, that sounds like a totally cool thing that I want to spend the rest of my fucking week doing. And that's what I've been doing for this last week, is trying to figure out where dogs are going and where, like, we got so many of them in at the same time. And this time around, we just, a bunch of, like, people that we usually have that foster with us, weren't able to do so. So it was like, okay, I guess I'll, go to work, come home, take a dog to somebody's house for a night so that I can then come the next day, pick that dog back up, take it to the hospital, get its balls chopped off or its hoo-ha sewn shut. I believe that's how they do it.
I think it's spackle.
Yeah, I think they just spackle it, is how it works. I don't know, Chris. I'm not a doctor. And then, yeah, it's just been constant back and forth dealing with that this entire week. I think I did finish up the last, like, big thing that I needed to do. Need is a strong word, that I hadn't done yet in the show. The last collection that I hadn't completed just because I just didn't. So I finished that up and deleted the game off of my hard drive so that I could be ready for the new one. And then, yeah, that's that. Like, honestly, I'm trying to think if I've done anything else, but it's been nothing but dogs for a week. And it seems to be, like, calming down now. Like, I think we've gotten to a place where we can breathe a little bit. But yeah, like, it was absurd. A lot of dogs.
That is a lot of dogs. That's a whole lot of dog.
It's a whole lot of dogs just in my house. Like, here you go, guys. Enjoy. And, like, not even the same type of dog. Like, we got 2 Pomeranians and 3 Beagles and another Bernese Mountain Dog and, like, 3 or 4 Golden Doodles, I think. And it's just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with all of this together. Like, 2 Pomeranians weigh as much as the Bernese Mountain Dog's leg. Ridiculous.
These 2 dogs are a quarter of this dog.
They really, really are. It's just, it's absurd. It's been an absurd week. So, hopefully this week it'll calm down a little bit.
I hope so too.
It doesn't appear to be. But, whatever. It's fine.
What are you going to do? Dogs. Dogs are everywhere.
Dogs are literally...
They're very cute dogs.
Yeah, oh yeah. I put the pictures up and they're adorable.
Yeah.
I love dogs. They're great. They're fucking everywhere.
Too many dogs.
They're just goddamn everywhere. So yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have anything more than that.
No, that's okay. We've got a bunch of listener questions to get to, so I'll just blow through my shit, and then we'll move on to the back half of the show and answer some questions.
All right.
So Infernax.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to play this game?
At some point, but like spoil away. I don't care. That's fine.
All right. I'm gonna spoil some shit because I've got to talk about it. We didn't spoil it in the Discord yesterday, so I'm going to Evan, if you're listening or if you're nearby or whenever you hear this.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I haven't finished the game yet, but I was informed of some extraordinarily cool things by, I think it was Matt Flamger in
I think
the SAG
so.
chat. Was it Matt who made me do these wonderful things?
I think it was.
I think it was too.
The peer pressure from that guy.
It was Matt. Okay, so there you go. Spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about some really cool ass shit, and he only showed me one of these things. The other cool shit was what I encountered shortly thereafter in my regular playthrough. So,
okay,
in Infernax, which is basically Simon's Quest, but way more bloody and just genuinely better. At the title screen, if you enter the Konami code, it alters the game in the most brilliant way. Your main character in the game is this knight dude. He's like a Templar knight with a mace, and everything's in medieval times and whatnot. Yeah. It's great. You enter the Konami code, and
don't get the fucking chicken, root for your horse.
Everyone's jousting and stuff. You enter the Konami code, and these big red letters across the screen are like, "Let's attack aggressively" or some shit like that. And you start the game, and your character is the same dude, except now he has a machine gun. Because you are now that dude, but a Contra guy.
Nice.
And you can just play the game as a Contra dude. Like, it makes it way easier.
I would imagine.
Way funnier. Because you're just blasting everything away with a fucking machine gun. And you jump and you do the flips and everything like that. And the music changes to sound very, very Contra. But it goes a step further than that. I played for like a couple of minutes. I beat the first boss, because there's a boss like right at the beginning of the game. And then I went to the first town, and I went to the shop, and instead of buying armor, you buy t-shirts. And the descriptions are like, I don't know why this helps, it just does.
It just does. Nice.
Oh my god, after I finish the game, I am going back to play through it with the Konami code. Because like, in the cutscenes, your character is like that character, but holding a machine gun and shirtless and with a bandana on. Like, it's fucking perfect.
That's awesome.
Absolutely blew my mind, because it intrinsically changes the way you play the game, too. It's like a whole new kind of game after that. It's so good. Holy shit.
That's really awesome.
Absolutely blew my mind. So, after playing that for a few minutes, I jumped back into, because I have the review on this is due, I think, April 1st. So I do need to finish it, and it's not that long, but knowing that it's not that long, I haven't spent as much time with it as I should. I know I'm close to the end right now, but so I'm playing it a little bit further, and I get to this hallway that clearly had something to do with like the Kickstarter fund that funded this game in the first place, because it's just a giant hall of gravestones that have just the dumbest shit written on them with like usernames and stuff, and most of them are very funny things. It's just like, this is really goofy. I see what this is, but then you get to the very end of this long ass hallway, and there's a book there. And I go and I open up the book, and then the Game Wizard shows up. And It is the logo for Game Genie, except the dude's wearing a wizard hat. Like the big blue digital genie that's holding up the big thing sign that says Game Genie. It is exactly that, except with a hat. And instead of genie, it says wizard. Okay, what the fuck is this shit? And then it opens up the NES Game Genie code entry thing that looks and sounds like an Atari 2600. It is identical to that.
Wow.
So I was like, just messed around, put a few digits in, and it didn't do anything. So like, all right, I gotta look this shit up. What are the codes?
There's gotta be they have to be there.
Oh, they are. So I looked up codes in Infernax. I don't remember what they all are. All right. These are the codes that have been discovered so far. And holy shit, they are great. All right. You can enter code that unlocks over-the-top gore.
Ooh, I love over-the-top gore.
All right. I got to see what over-the-top gore is. So I enable the code. I go outside. I kill a skeleton. And it just explodes in guts and blood everywhere.
That's awesome.
Oh, so you meant over the top gore. You were not fucking around. Okay. And these codes can then be toggled at any save point. There is a code for 99,999 gold, a code for unlimited jumps, which is this was a code that was usable in Super Mario Brothers, where no matter where you are, if you press the jump button, your character will jump. So you just jump infinitely in midair forever. Hooray.
That's fun.
There's an invincibility code, which is a true invincibility code. I really appreciate this, because it's not just invincibility from projectiles or bad guys. If you fall in a hole, you just materialize outside of the hole. It is actual invincibility. You cannot be killed.
That's awesome.
Fucking great. This one's great. You can get a jetpack.
Why not?
So it's obviously, it doesn't mean anything with if you have the unlimited jumps code, it's different, because instead of, the one basically replaces the other, but the jetpack's a fucking jetpack and it controls like a jetpack. You're a Templar Knight or whatever with a fucking jetpack. And you fly around. It's fucking great.
It's a little known fact about the Templar Knights is that they all, in fact, did have jetpacks.
They did have jetpacks.
Yeah. It's a very little known fact.
This one, the code is Pain Salve, and what it does is it enables chainsaw mode.
Ooh.
Which is basically just like having the chainsaw in Doom. You just have a chainsaw. Again, completely anachronistic, but it doesn't matter, because this game has a lot of really funny shit in it. And you just chainsaw things, which is great. There's paintball mode, where when you kill things, they just explode in lots of fun colors.
Like
and
that.
And there's 99,999 XP, so you can level up everything, and infinite mana. So that's amazing. And you enter them all with the fucking game wizard. I absolutely love that. It is perfect. So
yeah, they get it. They get it.
Oh my god, do they ever get it? So I talked about the tornado thing reference to Simon's Quest last time. So Matt also told me to go to an inn and sleep for 3 days. Okay.
It's a lot of days.
So every time, this has the same day-night cycle as Simon's Quest. So when you go to an inn, you sleep, it just changes to the next cycle. If it's day, change to night. If it's night, change to day. So you sleep once, and then the innkeeper's like, you look tired, get some sleep. You wake up, and he's like, no, you doing a lot of stuff. You can sleep again. And so you do. And then you wake up again, he's like, and you go to talk to him. He says, you just slept for an entire day. You really want to sleep again? Yes. Okay.
All right.
And on the last one, he says, when you get to the third one, he says something like, you know what, fine, just sleep all day. It's not like the kingdom's going to burn without you or something like that. Or it basically does a complete passive aggressive, like, you're supposed to be out there saving the world, asshole, but sure, just go ahead and sleep, see if I care. So as soon as he does that, it transitions into the ending of Super Mario Brothers 2. Where your character is in the blue bed. It looks just like Mario 2, except it's you in the bed, except for instead of Mario, you got a little sleep cap on with the M on it. Then the credits start rolling over to the right, but in the background, there's a window. And through the window, you see all the monsters just taking over the world and raping and pillaging. Fire everywhere, blood, people getting dismembered while you're comfortably sleeping in
while
bed.
You're just taking a nap.
That's
great.
Great.
That's great.
It's so goddamn good. This game is just the gift that keeps on giving. I'm having a hard time figuring out what to rate it, because like at the end of the day, its core is very solid, but it's good. It's punishingly difficult, but it also has a whole host of accessibility features. You go into the menu for accessibility. It's like, look, we intended this game to be hard as shit, but we know that that's not for everybody. So if you really want to try and do this another way, here are some options. Like, fucking brilliant. Like, I love
Yeah.
you. And they kind of like put up a couple of gates to get through it. Not like, you know, you have to challenge this. It's just like it asks you a couple of times, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And then you go ahead and do it and you're good to go, which is wonderful. I
awesome.
keep peeling back layers of this. It's like this, they did exactly what they set out to do, and they did it remarkably well. Like, I haven't switched over to easy mode. Right now, I'm probably just going to turn on the invincibility so I can get through the end of the game and get my review written. Because I do want, we'll talk about that. I do want to see and experience the rest of this game, and the invincibility mode, like, it doesn't stop the enemies from behaving the way they behave. It's just like, death has a fucking penalty in this game, and I have experienced it a lot. When you die, you go back to the last save point. That's it. Like, and sometimes it'll be a very long way between save points. Like, there's not usually save points in the dungeons or anything, so you have to go through the whole dungeon. Like, I'll usually go into the dungeon, grind for a little bit, come back out, save, go in, find the item, come back out, save, then go find the boss.
Okay.
Like, and that just, it takes a long time, but it's like, instead of going in there, oh no, I stumbled upon the boss and I didn't learn its pattern. Now I have to do the whole goddamn dungeon again. And that's hard, and that's time consuming. And fortunately, there's ways around that. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on with my day.
As well you should.
As well I should. So I'm going to I'm almost at the end of the game, because you find these codes like about halfway through the game, which isn't all that long to begin with. So I figure I'll just see what the rest of the game has with invincibility mode, just to see what it does and like see what the rest of the moves are. And that should be enough for me to write the review. But there's the whole multiple endings thing. There's the morality system built in. So like, this game's got some serious replayability in it. It's nuts. It's a really freaking
cool.
good game. And it didn't seem like a lot more than a really good Simon's Quest at first. I was not expecting the attention to detail that they threw into this game at all.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
There you, Evan. Spoilers end. So yeah, go buy Infernax, everybody.
Do it right now.
It's really freaking good, especially if you are a fan of the NES in general. Like, it is not just a love letter to Simon's Quest. It's primarily that, but it is a love letter to Nintendo Entertainment System in general, that era of gaming. No, just
chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss, 100%. Hundo P, as the kids
Hundo P.
I got my Brewstoid, so Animal Crossing is done for me. I might hit the Island Paradise thing at some point, but there's so much else on my plate right now. I don't see myself getting to it. I know it's very good, but a lot of other stuff to do. So I got my Brewstoid. I'm out for a while. I need a break. So there you go. The Mario Kart DLC is great.
I would imagine it is.
Yeah. All right, here's how I'm going to put this. It absolutely sucks that these tracks do not look or sound as good as anything else in Mario Kart 8.
That's
a
so
bummer.
Weird.
It is weird. I get it. It's a very inexpensive way to take content you've already created and offer it to a whole new audience that will never experience otherwise. And it does look better than Mario Kart Tour, but it is not up to par with Mario Kart 8. However, that really doesn't matter. Like, it just fucking doesn't. And I would say it's only really on the retro courses. The two courses that I played that were the like new courses made for Tour. So out of the new courses that are there, there's 3, right? There's 2 or 3. I think there's 3 total courses that were from Tour originally. And those look great. I mean, I guess if I really wanted to try to nitpick it, they could look a little different than the other courses in 8. Maybe they're not quite as detailed, but they're not sticking out to me. The other ones, like the retro courses, are noticeably not as detailed as Mario Kart 8. And that's kind of a bummer, but those courses are so goddamn good. Like, it felt great to go through Coconut Mall again. That course is still a blast. The Game Boy Advance one with the beanstalks and stuff, that's a wonderful course. The new version of it is really good, but the old version of it is so much better. It's a real bummer. I don't know why they changed it as much as they did. Like, the old one was a tough course, but it was a lot longer. This is really shortened. It's very strange.
Really?
It's still really good. Like, the changes they made are really good ones. I just don't understand why it's so much shorter than the original, but what are you gonna do?
Weird. It's a weird choice.
But the new courses are really freaking cool because they do stuff that Mario Kart hasn't done since Mario Kart Double Dash, which is like the laps are, each lap is different, as in, but not like in the Wario mountain skiing one where it's like you're just going down 1, 2, and 3, because they're actual laps around a course. It's just that when you go around the first lap, then when you reach the second lap, it changes. Like, there's things that are stopping you from going one way. Now that way is open and you're stopped from going the other way.
That's cool.
It ultimately winds up with you racing while people that are behind you are going against you. Like, so you're going towards, like, on one side of the road, and then on the same road, but on the other side of the road, people are traveling in the opposite direction. So you have to go weave in and out of people that are at the end, like, that are way behind you.
Yeah, that's cool.
In the race. It's really cool. It's handled very well, and I love that. I haven't seen that since Double Dash, and it makes those courses excellent. But my favorite new course is this Ninja Temple, which is just fucking lousy with alternate routes. Like, not shortcuts. It's just got all these different... You can go through this one area, and there's these pipes with air shooting out of them, and if you hit the pipes with the air, you can go into the rafters in the ceiling and take a whole other course up there that's got different stuff in it. Like, it's a really complex level, and it's gorgeous. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It absolutely sucks that those retro courses do not match the level of music or visuals as Mario Kart 8. It absolutely sucks, but not enough to tarnish how much fun it is to play. Because at the end of the day,
that's all that matters.
That's really all that matters. Like, my kids don't give a shit that they look different. Like, they don't. And honestly, when you're
John's
playing
not popping up like, Dad, the fucking resolution on these old courses.
There's no texture on this grass, Dad.
Ugh.
Like, and that's the thing. Like,
this grass is mid. It's what all the kids are saying. So I imagine
just
your
don't
kid
notice
says
it.
too.
Like, I don't notice it while I'm playing. The only one I do actively notice when I'm playing that just doesn't look good is Choco Mountain. And it was clearly an obvious. It was clearly a choice, but I don't think it was a good one.
Okay.
Because they basically made Choco Mountain like, here is an updated version of the N64 course, which was all fog all the time. Right. But it's just like, it just seems so empty. Even like you've now cleaned it up and shined a light on exactly how empty this course is. And it's still a fun course to race in, but there's just no backgrounds because it's all fog. It's that was my only real disappointment in it, is that Choco Mountain course from N64. But regardless, I'm over the moon with the Mario Kart DLC. I'm bummed it doesn't look better, but at the same time, not bummed enough to stop my enjoyment of it.
Right. And again, that literally the only thing that matters is if you're having a good time playing it.
Yeah.
None of the rest of it matters.
Hundo P.
Hundo P. If you're having a good time.
Let's see. We got some new Genesis games on Nintendo Switch Online.
A word?
Yeah. And fucking weird ones too. I'm trying to find the actual post about it. I'm just seeing all these here's all the games on the Nintendo Switch Online, and that's not what I'm after. I just want to see the new
That's
ones.
not helpful.
Come on, Google, help me out here. So March 2022. And there we go. All right, so we got I love this. I love this freaking update because it's weird ones. It's weird picks. Not at all what I was expecting. Come on. Show me those titles. I haven't messed with them much yet. We got Alien Soldier.
Nice.
Which this is one of those games that didn't come out in America. I think it was a Sega Channel exclusive in America. Mm-hmm. It's a treasure 2D shooter where you're like some weird cyborg Birdman. Like, you know about this game. I'm just
for sure.
saying it for the purples.
for the
purples. So this game, I messed around with this a little bit for some reason. I feel like you told me about it or something. Somebody had me try this out, and
I did.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a winner right there. It's a freaking treasure shooter, and it's so bizarre because you can't run while shooting. It plays
it's really
unlike
strange.
Anything I've ever played. Next up was Light Crusader, which is also a treasure game. It's like an isometric action dragon fighting RPG thing where you're some knight dude and isometric platforming fighting shit.
Love a good knight dude.
Yeah, it's another game from Treasure for the Genesis that probably not a people have played. And then Super Fantasy Zone, which was another one that didn't get a cartridge release in the US. I don't even know if this made the Sega channel. I think the first time this showed up in the US was on the Wii Virtual Console. But it's freaking Super Fantasy Zone. I love this game. It's great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I don't know why they dropped these 3 games. I'm so glad that they did. Because they're weird, but they're also like really top tier weird shit. Like this isn't like Eliminator Boat Duel on NES. It's like, that's pretty neat. I'll play that for 14 seconds.
I like a lot of the NES games that they have, but then there's some stuff where you're like, I mean,
did you need to? Are we really pounding on Super Jelly Boy here? Like,
yeah, like we're super excited about that one. Like it's a little okay.
These are like, here's 3 games you've probably never played, and you fucking should.
Get on it. Because they're dope.
Because they're... Can't say it.
You can't. You just can't do it.
I can't pull it off.
You can't. Oh, you could.
Let's see. And we're...
Try that.
It's dope. It's dope.
Nope. Don't
dope.
Do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, can't do it.
You were right.
And we're on Chrono Trigger. We're basically at the end. We're just doing all the side quests at the end right now. I think we only have one left. We just have to do the whole Cyrus thing, and then I'm just going to fart around until I find enough to unlock all the rest of the text. I think we only have a few more special moves to do to unlock, and then John will be able to see all the special moves. Or maybe we'll just beat it, and then I'll bring him downstairs and boot up my cartridge and be like, here's the rest of the moves.
There you go.
That's probably what I'll do.
That is what I would do. That seems like a better use of your admittedly limited time.
He's just having so much fun with it. He's obsessed with Chrono Trigger, which is so great. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
All right.
Good times.
Good times. Great oldies.
Cannot wait to mess with folders.
I know. Why is that something that we care so much about?
I just love organizing shit. I love it.
I know. I can't do it on the PlayStation 5, and it fucking makes me mad.
Like, every time I turn on the Switch and I'm like, all right, I want to play something for 5 minutes, and then I got to scroll through my 180 some odd games and be like, well, geez, 180 plus 50, because all the icons are there. So it's like,
yeah, that's too much.
God damn, it's I got to scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's anyways,
it's tiring. It is.
It's tiring, and it's overwhelming. It's like, all right, if I just had a list of like, oh, what are the games that we have that are multiplayer? Okay. Yeah. Here's the multiplayer games that we can look at for playing family time or whatever. Hooray, there we go. Dunzo.
Shit like that is the reason that I fall back into Pad and like the show all the time. Because it's like, what am I going to do? I don't know. I can do those 2 things real easy. Real quick.
That's easy. I know what they are. Boot them up. Good to go.
Yep. Know what they are. Know where they are. Everything is like, it's right there. As soon as I start the game, I have something to do. You know, I'm not just like jumping into some adventure game or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be answering all manner of questions from all manner of places. You are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and geekade.com.
First up, the Weekend Rental Crew takes on an impossible task. A choice that's so hard to make. No one in their right mind should be forced to make it. But these brave souls have dedicated their lives to making these kinds of tough choices. And they're passing on the savings to you. It's buy, rent, or burn on classic Mario games, and tears will be shed. Not by me, though. I don't like Mario games because I hate fun. So I say burn them all. There's also some Turtles discussion and a visit to the mayor, which is very sexy. Find out what all that means in Weekend Rental episode 121, Your Gamers Are in Another Castle. Or The Gamers Are in Another Castle. Sorry.
You should be.
I am. Very much so.
Next up, there's nothing quite like the feeling of finding out something you had completed years ago wasn't actually complete in the first place. But for me, it's still close enough, and at least I know what I have to track down. I recently got my Nintendo Power Collection out on the shelves for easier access, and I decided to go ahead and make a fun video about the process. I also spent a bunch of time spotlighting how the magazine has evolved over the years, from the Nintendo Fun Club newsletter all the way to its spiritual successor, Nintendo Force. And then somebody commented on the video and said, "You're missing this one." It's like, son of a bitch, I am.
Thanks for pointing it out, asshole.
No, genuinely,
I love
thank you for pointing it out. I didn't know, and now I know. I actually found 2 things that I'm missing. Yeah.
For shame.
I feel like
You
the
call
second
yourself
one...
a fucking collector.
I feel like the second one I was missing for a reason, and that's bugging the shit out of me. Because, like, I looked at, there's this, the first thing the guy pointed out was a calendar collection thingy. Like, all right, that's fucking cool. I found one on eBay. I ordered it. It was like $20 plus shipping. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's good. And that completes my collection. But the other thing is this Wii Buyer's Guide. And I knew that existed. And
you don't have that?
I don't have it. And I feel like I remember looking at that and saying, I don't need this because... But I have no clue what it is. Like, I felt like, is this inside of an existing issue somewhere? I don't know what it is, but there's one up right now for $30.
Ooh.
This is just too rich for my blood.
Ew.
It's just too much for that thing. I don't want it that badly. But I want to have the complete Nintendo product anyway. Get a glimpse at a whole lot of old-ass magazines and Stone Age Gaming, quote-unquote, complete Nintendo Power Collection, available now on the Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel.
Now, I gotta be honest, I am not about to sing this shit. It's just not a thing I'm gonna do.
I didn't imagine you would.
I'm just gonna finally hit it. Like father, like son, you're always number one. Best buddies, best pals. Yeah! You always seem to work things out. Can't you see you're 2 of a kind? Looking for a real good time. Report to the Goof Troop and we'll always stick together. Yeah, we're the Goof Troop. Best of friends forever. Side by side, wherever you go, we're always ready to roll. Now give me a beat. We're the Goof Troop. We always stick together. Oh, we're the Goof Troop. Best of friends forever. Now we're calling everyone. Everyone! Come along and join the fun. Report to the Goof Troop. Babaloo, bop, bopaloo wop. Yeah. I fucking hate Goof Troop. What? It's fucking... I mean, you should definitely listen to the SNES podcast, episode 184, about Goof Troop. I will listen to it to see if they share my sentiment that they hate it.
I love that cartoon. I couldn't tell you a thing one about it now, but I remember rather enjoying it back in the day. And I saw that there was the next episode was Goof Troop. I was like, how do I write an ad for this? What's the best way that I can? I'm just gonna copy paste the lyrics to the theme song. Done.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. No, that's the thing you made me do.
And I'm really glad I did. And we're recording this week's episode this week, so I'm going to make one of my fellow Twepcasters do the same thing tomorrow night.
Oh, that's very exciting. Hopefully,
who should it be?
Should
I make Evan do it?
I feel like it should be Evan.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it should be Evan too.
I feel like Evan hates Goof Troop as well. Goofy is a shit tier character.
Oh, how dare you! Goofy's amazing.
No, Goofy is shit tier.
Of the classic Disney cartoons, the Goofy one, like the Goofy sports. Oh my god! Come on.
Nope. I don't like Goofy.
Nah, there's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you.
That's fair.
That's some of the few like actual classic Disney cartoons that I put on the same tier as classic Looney Tunes. Just the Goofy ones where the announcer is reading and he's trying to learn how to like ski or some shit like that.
Yeah, no, I
that
know.
shit's hilarious.
Nope. I disagree entirely. Old school Donald Duck is where it's at.
That's true. Old school Donald Duck is great, but that doesn't take away from how good old school Goofy.
I mean, that if you like Goofy, I'm not.
Dude,
judging.
Roger Rabbit liked Goofy, all right? And you're going to disagree with Roger Rabbit? You're going to spit in Roger Rabbit's face in his fucking bow tie.
I would.
Please, Dan.
He would pay for me to do so. Everybody knows that about Roger Rabbit. He is super kinky. No, I'm not besmirching the good name of Goofy by proclaiming him to be a shit tier character. But, I mean, if you like shit tier characters, then Goofy's for you, man.
For all this and more from our part, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. Because if this shit doesn't sell you, I don't know what will.
Nah, fuck it. Like what you like, man. Don't fucking listen to me. What do I know? Some dick in a garage in New Jersey. Fucking my opinion doesn't matter.
We are back, and we have some listener questions to get through. But before we get to the listener questions, this one isn't a question. This is just an interaction I've been having on social media that I wanted to talk about. A gentleman by the name of Claiborne Cook he's a listener of the show, and he's been messaging me. He is setting up these statue room cabinets. He's got a statue room, and he's building these cabinets for all of his first four figure statues.
That's awesome.
It's gorgeous. He's sending me pictures, and I feel like my responses come off like I'm blowing him off because I'm literally speechless. He's sending me these pictures. I'm like, that's fucking beautiful, man. that is gorgeous. It is, the work he's doing in there is stunning. It's like museum quality. I don't know, man. That's
awesome.
Yeah, it's really something. So, Clay, I don't know. Can I call you Clay?
Yeah, no, we're close.
We're tight.
Yeah,
Seriously.
no, Clay told me you could.
What you are doing with your statue room is very impressive, and I very much enjoy the pictures that he sent. It's solid stuff. It's
That's awesome.
Not shit tier stuff.
Not shit tier, like
Dan
Goofy
would say.
Sorry, I've been very negative about the Yankees this past week, Chris, because they've done some really questionable things. Some really strange decisions have been made by the front office and Mr. Brian Cashman, and I have proclaimed for years that Cashman is a shit tier GM, and
you were just all about the shit tiers.
I do. I feel it's very SABC shit. That's feels. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Brian Cashman's
I just sent you a picture of the one of the pictures he sent me of the cabinets that he's built.
I'm about to click on it. This is riveting radio. Riveting. Oh, that is very sexy.
Right? That's out of control.
Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice.
All right, so back to business here. First question, I asked everyone to send us some questions, including my son. So John asks, what are your favorite and least favorite Chrono Trigger bosses? Now I'm gonna play this segment for him, Dan. So
okay.
Keep it clean, all right?
Okay. Hold on. Let me get it. Shit, fuck, piss. Let me just get it all out first. Set.
Evan, bleep that out so I can play this for my son.
No, all right. Start over again. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
John Randazzo asks, what are your favorite and least favorite Chrono Trigger bosses? Well, I'll answer first because it's fresh in my memory.
Yeah.
Let's see. My least favorite is the one that I fought today, which is the sun what the heck is it called? You find him in the sun, not the Sun Palace or something. And he's this little eyeball, and he's got all these flames around him. And every one of there's a random flame that you have to hit in order to do damage to him. But if you hit the wrong ones, he'll counterattack.
Son of Sun.
Son of Sun, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Son of Sun.
Least favorite, without a doubt, because it's just all chance. Boo.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that one, but that one's an optional one. You don't have to fight.
He didn't say which necessary bosses. He just said which boss is your least favorite and least favorite. So that's my least favorite. My favorite, I have always been a big fan of Zombor. I really like Giga Gaia. I like the design of him. He's just this big honking dude with the big jaw and whatnot. He's so intimidating. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Giga Gaia, even though he was a real pain in the butt to beat. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. Like Giga Gaia, I'm waffling between Giga Gaia and one of the optional bosses. I think I don't know. I think
Lavos is great too.
Lavos is awesome. I think my least favorite are like Slash and Flea, just because they're kind of like there's so many other cool things in this game.
Kind
like
of pushovers, but
they're just kind of boring. Like they're not bad per se. They're just in the scope of what Chrono Trigger is. Yeah. They're just kind of like, those are people. And that's fine.
I like them.
They're okay. I mean,
they're okay.
I think
they're
Flea
mids.
Plus and Super Slash, like the optional fight with them, it's like, okay, well now they're a
little more difficult because they can do what's it, the triple tech and stuff with Ozzy.
And that's just kind of lazy. I don't know. I think though the one optional boss, the Rust Tyranno.
The Rust Tyranno, yeah.
Oh, it's such a cool design.
The Black Tyranno is John's favorite design.
Yeah,
which is
Black
the same
Tyranno
exact
is
thing.
cool.
He's the same sprite. He's just different colors.
Yeah, I'm a little more partial to the Rust Tyranno, but I don't disagree with John that Black Tyranno is pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty swell stuff.
That's an excellent question, John. Well done.
All right. Next up, let's hit Discord.
Oh God, did I do it? Did I make it through?
You did. I think you did.
Jesus. Fuck.
Fuckity fuck.
That's right. This show is juvenile at best. Potty humor.
Let's go over to Discord. Where did I ask the question and what sort of ridiculousness followed it?
All right. Do we want to get the negative one out of the way first?
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right.
Let's end on a happy note, because I feel like you're about to end on a sour note, and I don't like that.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
I want to end on a down note.
Okay, so this was actually in regards specifically to episode 401, where we were talking about game reviews. This was a comment that was left on the YouTube posting of that video, and I responded to them on the YouTube channel. This is a Razgriz3 from YouTube, and
everything on YouTube is always so respectful.
Always so respectful. And the only reason I really wanted to properly address it, because it's pretty nasty, but he also, I assume they make a solid point in here that I think warrants some discussion. So here's what Razgriz3 wrote.
Yeah, unedited. Let me hear it, because I have not seen this yet.
The
this
problem
is happening
with your,
to me is it's happening to you. Okay.
The problem with your review ideology and Elden Ring specifically is the fact that a lot of bad design and flaws in general come out in the later half of the game. So now it's so obvious, overwhelming number of these reviewers played only 20% of the game before slapping these 10 out of 10 scores. You guys look like a bunch of incompetent fools, not professionals. Only way I'd grant you your point is if at the start of review you actually were honest and say how much of the game you've played. But you guys never do that. Now do you?
I mean, well, first of all, I have never claimed to be a reviewer of any sort of fucking import. So there's that. I mean, you and I think in the course of this show, talk about where we are within the scope of the games, like as we talk about what we're playing and whatnot. However, I am going to, again, just flat out disagree with that. And the reason I'm going to flat out disagree with that notion is what you brought up earlier, Chris, and I think it kind of leads into this nicely. What difficulty level do I have to play the game on in order for my review to count?
That's a great question. I think
do I have to play it on the hardest difficulty level? Or can I play it just to get through the story, where some of these things that become issues in games creep up when you fuck around with the difficulty level and shit? Like, there's stuff that happens in Uncharted that is just ridiculous, but it's only happening because I've played through the game 3 or 4 times already, and now I'm just playing it on the adventure mode. You know what I mean? Like, and you can get away with certain stuff in there, and certain stuff's not as realistic as it might be. Enemies don't react the same way that they would. So, like, is that okay? If I played through the entire thing on adventure mode, does my review count now? Like, that's just, I find that to be such a dismissive and holier than thou comment.
Well, to that point, if you are reviewing something and you only play it on adventure mode, I would say that no, that review doesn't count. Because now, I'm not saying you have to complete it in every mode, but if there's a different kind of way to play the game, you should at least try it. So, like, if I'm going to play Infernax, I'm glad I found that Konami code thing, because that's a legit different way to play the game. Sure. And that alters my review. Now, if I just played through it in the regular, and then I switched to easy mode straight away, I still would feel like, all right, I've experienced what hard mode is, but I didn't use it to beat the game, and now I understand the basics of what it is. So it really all comes down to what you think the point of a review is. Like, it cannot be, with interactive media, especially modern stuff, it can't be the same as a movie. Because a movie, you watch a movie and everyone sees the same thing.
Yep.
Like, that's it. It is finite. Everyone sees the same thing. But to go to the Elden Ring point specifically, like, the assumption that, or first off, there is assumption that reviewers are part of some collective. Like, you guys, I'm sorry, I don't know any of these other people. I've
never met any of them.
I am the smallest of small fries, okay? I am small time. I review stuff. I review small games for Nintendo Force. I have never reviewed anything of the size and scope of Elden Ring. I just haven't. I would say this in reference to the 10 out of 10 scores. If I was in danger of issuing a 10 out of 10 score, I would make absolutely sure I played through that game to completion before giving a 10 out of 10. I just feel like I feel like if you're going to proclaim something to be 10 out of 10, I've got to see that through to conclusion. So I got to wonder, like, at which point does that change things? Like, if I'm playing, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Speaking specifically to Elden Ring, okay, and it is games like Elden Ring, I think, that bring up this sort of, one, they bring out this fucking, oh, you fucking said some shit about my fucking thing, or like whatever. There's a lot of Take-Two people that are the same way of like, oh, you fucking talk shit about Grand Theft Auto, you're a fucking asshole, whatever. So what about the people that can beat Elden Ring in 28 minutes?
I don't know.
Are they allowed to give it a 10 out of 10? They didn't experience the multitude of things that game has to offer, but they did complete it. Like, that's why the playing a game to completion argument doesn't hold any water, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think to a degree, I can agree with you to a certain extent with that, because, like,
if I warp through the original Mario and only play 6 levels total, am I not allowed to review the game? You know what I mean? Like with something like Elden Ring.
if I put 100 hours into Elden Ring, but I didn't finish the game, I think if I put 100 hours into it, no matter what kind of weird stuff happens at the end of the game, I think it's pretty safe to say that I've experienced enough of it to be able to review it. So
Yeah.
even if things like fall off the rails, I got 100 good hours out of it. If I loved the game for 100 hours, but I didn't complete the quest, then my review would be that this game, for me, was worth the price of admission. And I think that's where I was getting at before with the films thing, with the films comparison, because when you're recommending somebody watch a movie, you're recommending, well, here's 2 to 3 hours of your time. And
Right.
is watching this movie worth 2 to 3 hours of your time? And here is why. But because games are such a different medium, I'm gonna recommend a game whether or not I think it's worth your time to play. So I don't feel bad that I didn't finish Sonic Colors, because I feel like I put enough time into it. Like, I personally felt that I had put enough time into it and understood enough of its mechanics and understood enough about the way the game works and what the game still had in store. There was nothing that was going to happen for the rest of that game that was going to dramatically alter whether or not I would recommend somebody buy the game. Because no matter how good those last couple levels were, it doesn't take away with how crappy I thought the beginning of the game was.
You still got to get through all the shit in the beginning.
If you have to suffer through 8 to 10 hours of pure, unadulterated mediocrity to get to something very good, then your game still isn't very good.
Yeah.
And that's the review. That's where that comes into play. But the opposite, I think, is an interesting question of, okay, this could be really, like, let's say it's a much shorter game than Elden Ring, and I only play the first, like, let's say the last hour or so of Infernax is absolute shit.
Sure.
That's going to have a huge effect on my review, because this is a much more contained, linear experience. So yeah, a game like Infernax, I absolutely must finish before I give my review. And with the way the invincibility code works, that's going to make it faster for me to do that, but I'm still experiencing what the game has to offer. Like, I'm looking around at this dungeon, like, I'm messed around with one of the dungeons with invincibility on, and there was shit flying everywhere, and I'm like, this looks like a very fun challenge, but this is going to take some time. If I were to do this without invincibility, this is going to take some time and some practice, and I wish I had the time to dedicate to it, but I have other things I need to get to, including other things I need to write. So, fortunately, I have this option to get through just the last chunk of the game. But I need to see how this story ends in order for me to form my opinion on that.
Well, and that again brings, I think, the main point into the conversation of it is simply unrealistic to expect a professional who has more responsibilities than just playing a video game to complete these gigantic long video games in the time that it takes to meet deadlines and perform the other duties of their job, and to also maintain some sort of work-life balance.
And yeah,
because, like, make no mistake, when video games are your job, it's most likely the case that you don't go home. Like, I played Elden Ring for, 8 hours straight at work today, and I can't wait to go home and ignore my family for another 10 hours.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. And if it does, I have to warn you, you're not going to have a very happy home life.
No, and it's also
just not realistic.
It's also not realistic to think that game reviewers are getting paid enough
to do that.
To do that. Now, I understand that that's not necessarily where the headspace is at with a comment like this. It's like, well, it's your job. Your job is to do X, Y, Z. But I would argue that where exactly is it written that it is required that you beat a game, that you 100% finish a game to write a review?
Because
And this is the point that I
hill-
thought was interesting, that he said that you should start your reviews. Now, the thing where he says, if at the start of review you are actually honest and say how much of the game you've played. First off, I take serious issue with that, because at no point in any reviews did I say that I beat the game. And that's usually not the case. It's usually not the case that when you're reading one of these reviews where somebody didn't finish the game, that they're going to say they did.
Right.
So this whole actually honest thing, that's a you problem, because you're the one that's assuming that everybody who plays games to review them has the time and the resources to 100% finish it and get it out on a deadline. Nowhere is that written that is a requirement or that that's what happened. What was asked of reviewers, or at least in my experience, what's being asked of a reviewer is to review this experience. What is your experience with this game? Put it into words. Do you recommend it? That's the purpose.
Yeah.
And yes, reviews could absolutely be more comprehensive, but when you start to get into the realm of something like Elden Ring, like finishing Infernax, absolutely. I'm going to do as much of that game as I can to move forward. But that's like a 6-hour game. Elden Ring is hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours. People are still discovering new shit in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Now, this week, people are still discovering things that people haven't done before. Now, because you didn't know that you could do something like that, does that invalidate any review beforehand because somebody didn't know about this thing that you can do with these 3 different items that creates some weird balloon effect and you can fly across the sky and make an arrow land on some dude's head or something?
No.
No, it really doesn't. Because at the end of the day, what the review is recommending is whether or not this person thinks this game is that good. And to assume that people had only played 20% of the game before giving it a 10 out of 10, I can't speak to that. I've never played Elden Ring. I have no idea how you quantify what 20% of that game is. But I understand the notion that whoever is reviewing the game should be an absolute expert on the game. But that mindset made sense back in the days of Nintendo and Super Nintendo. As games started getting bigger and more complex and more open, specifically more open, it's become harder to say that a definitive review is possible because at the end of the day, it all comes down to opinions. If I'm enjoying something enough to say this is a 10 out of 10, chances are I'm going to want to finish it to make sure that if things don't go horribly awry. But also,
But how many times has that happened?
How many times has that happened? And even more so, if I've enjoyed
fucking name me
$60
one.
to $100, 60 to 100 hours worth of game, if I've enjoyed enough of that time to say this is a 10 out of 10 game, that means, yes, absolutely, go out and buy it. Oh no, it doesn't stick the landing. I still got 100 hours of good game. But it's all opinion. It's all subjective. And that's the big thing. This is all subjective. If you don't want to trust somebody's review that didn't 100% complete whatever part of the game that you feel is necessary, then that is your decision to not identify with that person's review, because what's important about games to that person who wrote that review clearly doesn't align with what's important to you about games. And everybody experiences these things differently.
Right.
You have to find the reviewers that you agree with. And that does not have to come at the expense of other people, because other people probably enjoy these games the way that these people do, and those are the reviewers that they follow. But this isn't some sort of big collective thing no, we are, as reviewers, gathering together and deciding that this game is the best. That's not how this works.
We all call each other. We all have a fucking Slack chat every week where we're like, what game are we going to shit on and what game are we going to praise? It's just frankly absurd. It's frankly absurd.
So
at the end of the day, and speaking even more, if that's the hill that you're going to die on, that's okay. That's a choice that you were making. Feel free to make your choice. Knock yourself out, live the dream. However, really examine what that choice means. If you're saying that a game has to be completed to 100% to fully review the game, Does that mean I have to get the platinum trophy before I can review it? Do I have to do all of the things in the get? Like, what does 100% mean to you? Because if you want me to review Hollow Knight to 100%, then there's still 12% of the game that I'm not reviewing. Because to complete that game, you get to 112%. It's just an absurd thing to suggest that someone do. On top of that fact, if you would like that to be the case, then again, you then have to become okay with the fact, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, but then the reality of that situation is that the review for Elden Ring will come out a month after the game is out.
Yeah. And if you're okay with it, you're okay with it.
And if you're cool with that, then awesome. And that would be totally fine. And plenty of websites do that. Elden Ring,
that is
1
true.
month later.
Yeah.
They do that shit all the time.
Hell,
But that
Elden
is
Ring
not
has
what a
been
magazine or initial day one review is about. It never has been, and it never will be.
Elden Ring has changed considerably since it launched.
Yeah.
Like, there's been pretty big updates from what I've come to understand that change a lot about the way the game plays to begin with. So even that's
reviewing
that's kind
the
of a thing.
Square Enix Avengers game today versus when it came out 2 years ago, it's a completely different game.
Or what was the No Man's Sky?
Oh my God.
Completely different experience now than it was when it launched.
Completely and totally different. Like this notion that people who perform a job have to perform it to the extreme of a small group of people, and without that it invalidates their opinions, is such a small way of looking at things. That's just not how the world works.
I will also
man.
say the point, this is something that's a little bit more difficult. This is a lot easier on a digital medium. The whole thing about at the start of the review, did you finish the game? I don't think that's a terrible idea to be able to put something like that in a review, but only if you're not dealing with word counts. Now, if you're just if you're writing a review online and you've got infinite words, however long it needs to be, then absolutely include that information. But like, I'm working on a 300 word review for a game. I got 300 words to review a game. I am not going to waste 10 of them I'm not going to waste any of them on whether or not I finished the game.
No,
because that's information that those words could be used to convey what I would personally feel is more important information to somebody looking to see whether or not this game is good.
And
the bottom line is Razgriz 3, this is a far more complicated topic than I think you've given thought to. And I do understand the frustration. I should have said this up front. I understand the frustration of where you're coming from. That, man, everybody's praising the heck out of this game and it's got some problems. And I just don't think it's cool that everyone is giving this game universal praise like it's the best thing that's ever happened when it's got huge, serious problems in it. I get that. I do. But when you go start breaking down the actual specific points that you brought up in your comment, there's so much more to it. It is so much more of a complex thing than the initial knee-jerk reaction of like, no, if you're going to get paid to review video games, then you got to finish those games before you put a score on them. And like I said, that made sense back when games were 15, 20 hours tops. It does not make sense in a world where to 100% complete a game.
Even then it didn't. I even disagree with that to a point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're reviewing... Well, that's a good point.
Look back at an old issue of Game Informer or Game Pro, right? And you had 4 guys reviewing 15 to 20 games a month. They're not finishing all of those games, even if they are 6 hours long. In addition to all the other responsibilities that, like, video game journalism is not just playing a game and then writing about it. The writing takes a long time. Like,
It does.
It's not like, well, I played the game and now I'm going to sit down and I'm done in 15 minutes and
I'm
I've
probably
farted
going
out
to take a couple of
1,500
hours
words.
to write my review for Infernax. It's probably going to take me a couple hours, not to write it in the first place. It's probably going to take me 15 minutes to actually word barf it out once I get started. But then I got to go through it, and then I got to make it fit within the word count. Then I got to edit it, and then I got to prioritize. Well, what things am I going to need to cut out? What's the important stuff? How do I figure out how to make this fit within this much space and keep my personality, keep it interesting, and keep it accurate? There's a lot to it.
Yeah,
do
I
it
mean,
well.
like, you want, like, getting into the weeds a little bit, and then we can move on from this. It annoys me. I'm glad we didn't end on this.
Yeah, me too.
Like, my initial preview for the show for Nintendo Force, when I sat down to type it out, I just sat and typed. I just, like, let me get out what I have, like, what I think might be an article about the show, right? And I had 550 words, okay? My initial document was over 2,000 words. So I had to take 1,500 words out and still have it make sense.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
That's
But
not
it's a fun
easy.
challenge. It's one of the reasons I love writing so much. It is a fun challenge.
It is fun, but it's also not 20 minutes after I've spent the last 80 hours playing a game. Like, it's just not how it
3,
is.
if by some miracle you're actually still listening to this, because we've talked a lot. I appreciate you listening in the first place. I appreciate
Sure.
you taking the time to comment. I didn't particularly care for the way you commented, but you guys never do that now, do you? Mic drop, walk away. That's just in the future. We're nice guys. If you have something to say, just say
We're
it
okay.
nicely. We'll talk about it for like 25 minutes.
At the very least. Thank you for the free content, man.
All right, let us move on. Let's go. I think that was it for YouTube comments that elicited conversations. So we're going to switch right over to our Discord channel where Genix said, we're not going to be able to do this. We're just not. But the question was, which bread is the best bread? Power rankings.
Breast bed.
Yes, breast
bread
bed.
is definitely the best.
He
Love
said
breast
Power
bread.
Rankings March Madness that shit. No, I'm sorry. We
Oh
can't
my
March
God.
Madness that shit.
Nope.
Not
I'm
today.
Done. Next week. Next week, we're doing a fucking the Stone Age Gamer bread episode. There's got to be 64 different types of bread that we can go through.
You know what? We're going to make that happen in the future, sir. You
Fuck
just
yeah,
hold
dude.
tight.
Fuck
in the
yeah,
meantime,
that's how we get the Patreon numbers up.
there you go. In the meantime,
Fucking
I
lock
don't know.
that
I'm going to
behind
say
a
holla.
paywall.
I'm going to say holla bread. Yeah, lock that one behind a paywall.
I mean, I would probably say challah bread. Like, yeah. I fucking love challah bread so much.
As Stuff Y replied, a subject reserved for the upper crust.
Oh, he's so good.
Good man.
Fuck, I love that guy.
Let's see. Chronodin said, no, just leave the question like that. What are you going to do? I'm not sure what that's in reference. Anyway.
My wife?
Fair enough.
So, I mean,
All right,
It-
let's see. Robo Blue. Do you guys have plans to expand or readjust the site inventory to compensate for all the stuff that's going on that's slowing down retro gaming product production, or maybe offering new modding services? Okay, I can field this one to an extent.
and I can make something up. Yes. We're 100%. No, I have no idea.
Yes. As far as expanding and readjusting the site inventory, that's kind of a complicated one. I don't know a lot about the way the site works on the back end, but I know like there's something to removing items, especially ones that we're planning to get back in. So like if it's something that's, it's tough to get right now, but eventually it seems logical. It seems likely that we will eventually, like, this chip shortage isn't going to last forever kind of a thing. So I think right now, and again, this is just me saying that, I'm the social media guy. This is just from what I understand, that the process, right, the thing right now is that eventually the chip shortage is going to end. Things are going to be able to be obtained a bit easier. So readjusting the site itself to compensate for that is probably not in the cards, but modding services has been a focus. Offering different mods and stuff is definitely something that we're trying to work on. We just launched a Saturn builder where we're trying to work on these different builder programs where you say, pick a system and now pick, these are the different mods that we offer for it. So we're trying to get that infrastructure in place to make that process a bit easier. So we started with Dreamcast. We worked on Saturn. I think GameCube is the one that they're working on next, but the idea is to push the modding services because that's something that we can get things to do. We have a full-time modder on staff. He's great. He's going to fix some of my systems that I'm going to send in, which is pretty exciting. But yes, the offering new modding services is a thing. Also, if there's a modding service that you want that you don't see on our site, just message us. That's been kind of a hard thing to, I guess, articulate online for people to just know. But if there's a modding service out there that you don't see that we have listed on the site that you're interested in, like I want an AV mod for my ColecoVision, shoot us a message. We'll run it past our guy, and if it's something that he's physically capable of doing, then we'll come up with a price, and that's that. So, yes, absolutely, new modding services is a focus at the site right now. Yay. All right, Rob Metzger, he says, what is your favorite console of all time, favorite handheld of all time? These could be episodes, too.
Yeah, they really, I mean, because off the top of my head, like, I want to say Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance. Like,
I'm going to say Super Nintendo and Switch. Those are my gut reactions.
See, I think that's cheating. Now, that's fucking cheating. For the purposes of this discussion, I don't think Switch should count as a handheld.
All right, fair enough. Then Super Nintendo and 3DS.
3DS over Game Boy Advance.
Definitely.
I mean, I suppose because it can play Game Boy Advance games.
Well, no, actually
just
couldn't.
The DS could.
Yeah, just the DS ones. But a lot of Game Boy Advance games did get ported. 3DS library is amazing, and freaking Street Pass was a life-altering joy. I loved all the social features in 3DS. What an amazing platform that was.
Yeah. Yeah, like that would really, I mean, that's an episode unto itself. Like I said, gut reaction is Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance, but I could probably talk myself into like PS2 and 3DS.
PS2 is an interesting one. There's a fella I follow on Twitter that responded to somebody who was posting, which one do you like better, Dreamcast or PlayStation 2? And he said Dreamcast, and like just a rash of people jumped on like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I thought about it for a minute, like, I have played my Dreamcast more in the last 10 years than I have played my PS2, and by a large margin.
Yeah.
I go back to the Dreamcast library way more often than I do the PS2. Don't get me wrong, PS2 is a freaking masterpiece. It's one of the best game libraries ever. But I don't think it's as cut and dry and easy a question as the internet would make it seem, because the Dreamcast library was super small, but it's really fun to go back to. So,
yeah.
I love that he responded with a 4-player toy commander. Man after my own heart there. Dan from Retro Logic is who that was. Good times. All right, next question. Chronodin, have you ever growing up designed a game you wanted to make? Maybe just doodles or sketches in school, or perhaps you actually took it even further. Or follow up to that, if you could make a game now, limitations of programming, finances, and real-time availability aside, what kind would you make? Also, what is a game you really wish existed? All right. The first one I have an answer to. I made a bunch of them, and I don't remember many of them very well. But when I was a little kid, I was a colossal nerd. Surprise. This was after the NES had come out, and one was full-blown obsessed with Mario and Zelda. And I didn't really understand the whole, no, Mario is a Nintendo thing, because I had Mario Brothers for my Atari 2600.
Of course.
So me and my sister came up with our own game system called the Sagico. The Sagico was a combination of Sega, Atari, and Nintendo. We found a way to squish those three words together to make the Sagico. And it'll play all Sega, Atari, and Nintendo games. And there was a new Super Mario Brothers game for it that I drew that had Mario hanging off the side of a tree. That's the only thing I remember about it. But that was definitely a thing that we did. We invented our own game system that would have like the best. It would play all your old games for every system. And then it had like new games from all the cool things that we had on the various platforms. Like there's new Asteroids, there's new Marios, there's new Astro. What the heck is the Astro Blast? That's the Intellivision one. There's the top-down shooter, Astro Warrior, I think it is, for Master System.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's when I was a kid, and we would imagine games all the time. If I could make a game now, limitations of programming, finances, and real-life time availability aside, what kind would I make? I mean, if it was... That's tough. Like, are we talking about an original property or a follow-up to something? Like, if you want, what is a game you really wish existed? A follow-up to Kid Icarus Uprising. That's what I really wish existed. And if I could will that into existence somehow, that's what I would do.
Yeah, so like I'll start there. A game that I really wish existed. A really good Godzilla game. That's what I really like, because there have been good Godzilla games. Like there have been shit tier Godzilla games. There have been okay, there have been mid, and then there have been a couple that are like, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good game. There has never been a great Godzilla game, I don't think. If there has, like, I haven't, and I'm including like the GameCube, like Melee shit, like all of that stuff. The one that came out on PS3, like it's good. It's not great. So like I think that's what I would really like that to exist. If I could, limitations, programming, all of that stuff aside, two things that I've always wanted to do, and this kind of goes to the other question too. Like, have you ever designed a game? Like, when am I not, right? Like I'm always thinking of shit. You know what I mean? Like even now as an adult, I'm like, this would be cool, and it could be like this, and like I talk because my kids are really into that now too. So like it gets me thinking. But two things that I've always wanted to do and would do if the technology could allow it. And we watched a clip of it earlier on Twitter, that wushu style kung fu, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Shaw Brothers kung fu movie. I always wanted a fighting game that felt like one of those kung fu movies. And I don't know how the fuck you would make that happen, because they're so carefully choreographed, you know what I mean? And it'd be so much like blocking and parrying and countering. But if there was a way to make that style of kung fu fighting game, I would just be over the moon. The other thing I always thought would be cool, and like I've talked to my kids about it too, because they're like, what would you make? You know, when we're sitting around at the dinner table, what video game would you make? So what I would do is I would come up with a 3-part Metroidvania, right? A 3-part Metroidvania series that would all like very similar to where like you're constantly fighting Dracula. Like this would be the same thing, and it would take place in 3 very distinct like time periods and locations. Like it would be, medieval Japan, fucking Revolutionary War, America, and then, outer space in the future. Right. And the map would be the same in each one. And as you played through the different games, things that you would do in one game would affect either the past or the present or the future, depending on the other games that you weren't currently playing at the time. I always thought that would be really cool. I don't really know what that means, else, but like just that idea, I think sounds really neat.
I agree.
Like you would, if you did something in the past, it would unlock something in the future that would, you know, change the way that you would play the future game versus if you played the future game first. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I just thought that would be really cool. And I also think it'd be really cool to have some games that, like, you know, Assassin's Creed did that a little bit, where you were like going through Revolutionary War time, and like that's an interesting period to set, I think, that style of game in.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have a ton of these. So let's keep this train moving.
Right.
Rob Metzger says, "What game franchise do you wish would go away?"
Grand Theft Auto.
Ooh, that's a good one. I was going to say Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's one of those too.
Yeah.
And not because I hate that people enjoy them or whatever. I just feel like it stifles creativity in the rest of the medium, as the video games are a business, right? They have to make money. At the end of the day, like, nobody's doing this just to like, you know, whatever. I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and it didn't sell, but like, whatever, that's cool. You know what I mean? And when that is the thing that is dominating the market, that just permeates so much of what is done. And I just wish it weren't the case.
The Call of Duty is just more of a personal politics thing. I feel like Call of Duty goes a very long way of glorifying gun violence and that military persona and just America's gigantic erection towards guns. I think Call of Duty has done a lot to, you know, perpetuate that, and I think it's personally gross. But that's just me personally. I understand that, you know, some people like guns, and there's nothing I can do about that. So
I feel very much the same way with Grand Theft Auto. You know, going as far back as working in a store and like telling parents that, like, no, I'm not selling you Grand Theft Auto Vice City for your 8-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm just not going to be a part of that, man. Like, you're being a lazy parent.
I'm not going to sell a game to a kid that's named after a felony. That's just not what I'm going to do.
Just not a thing that's going to happen. And like, that's a weird moral, like, whatever. But like, you're not going to be a parent. Okay. I will step, and like, I know you're going to go buy it somewhere else. My conscience is clean, as it were.
All right. Duroc Pig asks, if you could greenlight a video game crossover project, what would it be? Like Mario and Sonic or Street Fighter Cross Tekken? Go ahead.
Marvel versus DC, made by Capcom.
Damn. I think yours might have been better than mine, because I was gonna say Nintendo versus Capcom, developed by Capcom.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo versus Capcom would be cool, but I just don't think it would work very well.
I think that's why I want it so bad.
Yeah, no, sure.
Like, I want that Marvel versus Capcom 2 art style. Like, I want that hand-drawn animated style. And I want Morrigan to go up against Kirby. That's the size of Servbot. You know, if they can make Servbot work, then I think they can make anything work.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've always wanted, there's two things I've always wanted. I've always wanted the Marvel versus DC made by Capcom. I just think that would be a blast.
Brilliant.
The idea of like fighting like Spider-Man against Green Arrow, like, oh my god, that just like,
and like, because in the versus games, the power levels don't mean shit. Sakura from Street Fighter Alpha can beat up the Juggernaut. It doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to, because this fighting game,
doesn't have to
have those DC characters drawn in that gorgeous art style that the MVC games used to be done in. They have like Superman going up against, like, I don't know, Doug Ramsey.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna learn some languages at you, bitch.
That's but like Superman versus the Scarlet Spider, or Superman versus Daredevil. Like,
that would be so cool.
Dope. That just sounds so fun. I really like. I've always wanted that, and I've always wanted. It's not really a crossover. I've just always wanted Namco to make a fucking Star Wars Soul Calibur. Yeah,
right? Seriously, just do what you started to do with those stupid unlock. Those should not be Soul Calibur characters. Just make Soul Calibur with all Star Wars characters.
Yep.
Thank you, drive-through.
Oh my God, that do you know? Like there is money on the table.
Oh my God!
Currently, a whole bunch of it because that game doesn't exist.
How many people would buy that? I would buy it.
Oh my God!
In a fucking
and with
instant.
a creative fighter, like create your own Jedi or Sith or whatever. Oh my God, dude!
And now that we've got like now we've got the Mandalorian in there, like in mainstream popularity in realm of Star Wars, you create your own character of like not just Jedis. It doesn't have to just be Jedi. There's all kinds of shit in there. Anyway, Scion Storm asks, "What's your golden age of gaming and why?" Mine's the 16-bit era because of how old I was.
We're old.
Yeah, specifically because of my age
too.
at the time, but also because as far as game evolutions go, that was the most exciting time because NES was where games started taking shape outside of the arcade realm, but they were still very limited by hardware. And then once you got the Genesis and Super Nintendo, they took what they learned from NES and just expanded on it in every single direction, and everything looked so much better and sounded so much better. It was just amazing. That was for me the golden age right there. That was
I'm right there with you. Right there with you. That 16-bit era is just we were the right age when those things were coming out for that to be the most impactful thing for us.
Hundo P, sir.
Hundo P.
Hundo P. All right, this is a really interesting question. Dr. Rosalia writes, "What is the absolute strangest game you own?"
Oh man.
I own some weird shit.
Mr. Mosquito's super weird.
Oh, that is a weird one, and I have that game.
Yeah.
Looking over at my DS games. I feel like I gotta have something really crap. What is the weirdest game I own?
Yeah, I think mine for sure is Mr. Mosquito. That game is just very, very strange.
I don't know why this popped into my head, but a front runner for me right now is DDR Mario Mix.
Yeah, it's a weird game, man. It's weird that exists.
You're just having a fucking dance-off with Waluigi.
Yeah, that's very strange.
What?
Like, I don't own Seaman.
Ooh, I own Seaman. Nope, that's it. That's the winner right there. It's not Seaman, it's Odama. That is the weirdest game I've ever played. That game is absolutely bug nuts.
Yeah, that game's crazy.
For anyone who doesn't know, Odama is a military strategy, voice-controlled military pinball game set in feudal Japan.
Yeah, it's weird.
From the creators of Seaman, What a weird game. I love it. It's so bizarre. Yeah, I think it might be the weirdest game I've ever played. Besides Euphoria for NES, that's a weird one too. Euphoria.
Yeah, that game's very strange.
Also, from Dr. Rosalia, do you have any weird stories from when you were working as game clerks?
I mean, there was one night where I was working at a GameStop in Mays Landing where this dude came in and really wanted to sell, like really thought he was going to come in and sell, like no lie, upwards of 20 copies of Fight Night. Like Fight Night Round 2 or whatever had just come out, and he was like, I got all these for my birthday. And I was like, the fuck you did, dude? Get out. I am not buying 20 stolen copies of fucking Fight Night off of you, man. He's like, I didn't steal them. I was like, I'm not saying you stole them, but I'm saying that they are stolen. They are, in fact, like, you didn't get 20 of these for your birthday. That's not some shit that happened. You're like a 40-year-old man. Like, fuck, dude. That's crazy that you're trying to do that. That's an absurd sentence that you just said out loud of your mouth to another person.
I have two similar stories to that. Story number one, before the PlayStation 3 came out, this was in my Game Crazy in Union City, New Jersey. A customer came in with a PS2 that they had spray painted silver and wrote PS3 on. This was a couple months before the PS3 had come out, and they were legitimately trying to convince me to buy a PS3 off.
That's really awesome. That's really fucking funny.
There was another kid that came into the store and said that he had a copy of Twilight Princess. This was probably a good 6 months before the game came out. This was like right when the last E3 showing or something. It was a considerable amount of time before the game was released. And he swore he had that game at home. It's like, yeah, that one right there. I played him a video of it in the store. He's like, yeah, I have that right now. I have it at home. And I looked him dead in the eye and said, I will pay you $5,000 cash if you come back in here with your copy of Twilight Princess. You don't have to give it to me. You just have to come in and prove to me that it's real. $5,000 cash. I'll put it in writing. And I never saw the kid again.
Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't.
Of course I didn't.
Yeah, I had
PS3,
a couple
though,
people. That's fucking awesome. I had a couple people like come in and try to, and it was definitely more in the Game Crazy days than the GameStop days, where people came in and were very much trying to be like, I've got this game and I've got this game and I've got blah blah blah. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, one, I'm not impressed. Like, I don't care. Two, like, no, you just don't. Like, they would, kids coming in and being like, oh, I've got the fucking, stadium of events fucking sealed. Bring it in. Let me see it. Same kind of thing. Bring it in. I'd love to see that. I've never seen that in person. Where is it? You don't fucking have it. Stop it.
Yeah,
absurd.
some kid once tried to convince me that his dad had every game ever made.
Yeah,
Like, you must live in a very large house. Yeah, that's a lot. Like, just even taking the financial side of it aside, like just the amount of physical space it would take to own every video game ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Scion Storm. This is probably my favorite question. Why are we walking like this?
Because we shit our pants a little bit.
It's the picture from Clerks, the Clerks cartoon, where they said, "Why are we walking like this?"
That's
Absolutely
why, though.
Wonderful.
It's
that
because
why, yeah.
we shit our pants a little bit, like just a little, like not enough to be like, "Oh man, I gotta go change," but a little to be like, a little bit came out that time. Fuck, damn it!
Oh boy! All right,
don't act like you haven't been there. Don't even.
Tiny Matt asked if I had done the whole sleep 3 full nights at the inn in Infernax. We already talked about that. Next question from Reformat. Did the virus kill the Grimace? Nothing can kill the Grimace.
Well, I mean, you've already answered your own question then.
No, that was me answering. The question was, did the virus kill the Grimace?
Oh, nothing
and
can kill
the
the
answer
Grimace.
is nothing can kill the Grimace.
That's right.
Scion Storm answered that as well. But yes, nothing can kill the Grimace. Let's see.
Everybody knows that.
Reformat. If you could take any game from the bad era of 3D, N64, PS1, etc., and remake it not as a modern 3D game, but as a 2D pixel sprite-based game from the previous generation, which game would it be and why?
Oh my god. I mean, question. Castlevania is the easy answer there, right?
It is. It is
one
indeed.
of the N64 Castlevanias.
Yeah. Imagine
I mean,
playing as like Reinhard Schneider and stuff in 2D. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, like answer. Is that man? Trying to think of something that would top that.
I don't think there is, but I would say personally, I would love to play a 2D rendition of Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I was thinking Conker. Like I'm sitting here thinking like maybe Conker.
I'm trying to think of like genuinely bad games because Conker's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I like Conker.
You know what? I would you know what? I would probably be able to do all that ridiculous collectathon stuff in Donkey Kong 64 if it was remade as a 2D game. There you go.
Maybe,
here we go.
Maybe Siphon Filter.
Okay.
Maybe.
Reformat has a bonus question for you, Dan.
Ooh.
Back in the day, Chris had a plan to introduce John to video games with Space Invaders. That was our first episode. Because of how simple it is to play and control. Did you have a similar plan for your kids? And if so, how did it go?
Yeah, I think I had a similar plan. And like, I think like it was, I want to play like Mega Man with the kids. Like that would be, that would be awesome. That was a game I loved when I was a kid. Like, we'll play that or something else. And it just kind of became a thing where they just watched me play games as I was, like just naturally kind of playing them. And it kind of fell apart completely. Like I didn't follow any sort of plan whatsoever that I wanted to. And just kind of, meh. It happened.
Let's see. Ferg asks, Ray, Ferg wants to know favorite Sifl and Ollie song.
Ooh. I mean, is it cheating if I say United States or whatever?
No, that was a Sifl and Ollie song before it was a solo Liam Lynch track.
Right? I mean, because that's definitely it. But also, like, strangely enough, I really like the Calls from the Public jingle.
That's a great one.
Like, calls from the public.
Boy,
I don't know, I really like that.
That's a really hard one because there's so many good songs. Laser Eyes is really high up there for me.
Laser Eyes
is so high up there, but I feel like my absolute favorite Sifl and Ollie song might actually be Motherfucking Pie.
Oh, Motherfucking Pie is really good.
I Feed the Shark, like that. Those newer ones that they put on newer because they're now old as shit at this point too.
Yeah,
They put on YouTube. That Motherfucking Pie song was really something else.
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh, Prostitute Laundry.
Oh, Prostitute Laundry is so good.
I'm up here in the cabinets. So much good stuff. Yeah, I gotta go with Motherfucking Pie. It's so joyous and perfect and wonderful.
Yeah, it really is.
Motherfucking pie. And I sing it every time that Karen makes pies. And she does
well
too.
You should.
As well you should.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Internet Killed the Video Star. That's a good one.
It's really good.
We're all connected, just like in Tron. Pong was amazing, but this shit's the bomb. All right, come on. Where are we going next? Let's go over to, that was everything from Discord, so let's take a look at Twitter. What do we have from Twitter? Gerardo211 says, which video game this is a tough one. Which video game moments have made you straight up ugly cry? I'm talking Simba's dad, Old Yeller, and Avengers Endgame levels of sadness. I'd have to go with the cutscene at the end of the Phantom Train fight in Final Fantasy VI or the final battle of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
I mean, dude, like, if I'm being honest and not like trying to be a tough guy, I've never cried at a video game.
I don't think I've ever ugly cried at a video game. That's not really something that happens to me. And again, that's not me being a tough guy. That's like, that's just something that doesn't, I guess I'm just not good enough at expressing emotions to ugly cry.
I am definitely an ugly crier, but I feel like it's different because I'm controlling the game. Like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? For me, like I ugly cry when shit happens to me that I'm not in control of.
I get choked up. I can tell you there are some moments in games that affect me to the point where it's hard for me to, like, the beginning of Wind Waker when they're telling the story. And they've got the whistles going do 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 do, and they're going through the legend, basically kind of telling what happened in Ocarina of Time and the whole Zelda universe before that. And then when the hero, they start talking about the hero of time and how he showed up out of nowhere, and they start playing on the fiddles and the violins the Zelda theme. I legit get choked up every time. And when I played that game with John recently, I'm reading the text to him, and I couldn't. I was too choked up to talk. I couldn't physically read the words because there were tears in my eyes. The sound of the baby Metroid dying in Super Metroid. That shit cuts me. It's so goddamn sad. And even as I get older, it still hits me, and sometimes even more, because it's like, this poor thing, this thing's whole life was, it hatched, it was brought to a science center, then it was fucking tortured and mutated and murdered trying to save me. And it's the saddest thing, and that sound, that sad sound, like, oh God, that just kills me. Those are the two that pop up off the top of my head. Those really are pretty
good.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good.
All right, let's see. Darth Magus 401 asks, "Are you familiar with the FM Towns system?"
No. I've heard of it.
I mean, I know of it. I know that the word Marty comes up a lot in FM Towns, but it's something I am aware of, but I am not familiar with it. Perhaps I should be.
Yeah. Should we be?
The FM Towns Marty is a 5th generation home video game console released in 1993 by Fujitsu, exclusively for the Japanese market. Yeah, I know almost nothing about it, but I will try. I will endeavor to look into it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darth Magus. Matt. Just Matt. What's your opinion on open world games? Do you prefer to be told a story that takes a shorter amount of time, or spend a large amount of time creating your own?
I am not. Yeah. It really depends on the game. It really, really depends on the game. I'm not the biggest fan of open world games. I like games that kind of blend the feeling of open world but narrative driven. You know, some sort of like kind of the way Uncharted does, right? The world feels so big and like there's so much I could go and do, but I very clearly have an objective here. You know, whereas something like, you know, Grand Theft Auto, and I don't know, like when I think open world games that I don't like, things like Grand Theft Auto are what kind of come to mind. But if they're done really well, like Ghost of Tsushima is an open world game, and that game blew me away. Horizon's an open world game. That game was amazing. They have to be special. I would rather be given levels to go through.
Yeah. No, I think that's how I feel. I don't genuinely love open world games. Well, I guess I don't genuinely love modern open world games.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you think about the original Legend of Zelda, that's an open world game. It's just so small. So
right.
I don't know. I'm going to say I would prefer to have something a little bit more narrative driven, but also at the same time, Breath of the Wild is one of the best games I've ever played. So, or one of my favorite games that I've ever played. So that's a tough one to answer. I think it just really depends on the game.
How's that for a non-answer?
There you go. I'm going to take a quick detour to Facebook. We only have a couple more Twitter questions, but I just remembered that on the main Facebook page, we only had one question. So Bobby Idad Moore asks, "So Chris, Picross, do you play everything in each game? Do you bother with the color Picrosses or the Mega Picross? Because to me, those feel like they should be their own game. And Dan, no question for you, but kudos on your dog work. I'm a cat man myself, but any rescue work is good work. Thanks, man."
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I got nothing for Picross.
I am 100% with you, Bobby. I play the main Picross. I messed around with Mega Picross, and it's just a different feeling to me. Like, it's a different kind of math, and it doesn't really click in my brain unless I'm trained myself to do it, and I haven't done that yet. So Mega Picross didn't click with me. Color Picross I haven't played around with a lot because it was a similar situation. I was like, I don't know, this feels like a different kind of math to me. Like 3D Picross, I loved 3D Picross, which feels very different because it is a different game. Like, it's not just a different mode in Picross. Now, that said, I am glad that they have those other modes included with the Picross S games. I think it's great to have that extra content, but it really isn't for me. So I'm just more of a traditional, regular Picross, although I did really like 3D Picross as well, and I wish they would port those games to Switch, because while they are different, once I wrapped my head around the concept, it was like, no, this is great. This feels right. This feels like Picross. I'm into this. That's an excellent question.
That is a good question.
All right, now let's go back to Twitter. My wife, Karen, son of a bitch. Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Horse-sized duck.
Yeah, one horse-sized duck for sure.
Yeah, that's not even a question.
I mean, duck-sized
really,
horses,
when you think,
like, sure, they're tiny and I could kick them, but there's 100 of those things.
There's so many of them.
Sheer numbers, I think I'm going to be overtaken.
Yeah, without question.
I stand a chance against one horse-sized duck.
Oh, for sure. Not a good chance.
No, not a good chance. No. I think I'm dead automatically with the 100 duck-sized horses.
100%. It's too fucking much. It's too fucking much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From Instagram, Black Ice Cold 84 asks, where can I listen to this podcast? Which I answered directly on Instagram. But then they asked, do you plan on appearing at any conventions this year? I believe Stone Age Gamer is thinking about doing, like, they're over in like Ohio and whatnot. They're thinking about doing some stuff up there. I know me and Dan are theoretically still planning on going to Long Island Retro later this year.
I think so, yeah.
And that's about it. So Instagram, Dunzo. All right.
Done.
I don't even know how to answer this. Brandon Cruz, aka Dr. Strike, catch his wonderful hijinks on the Dean's Vestlord channel where they're doing these weird Uno competitions, which are very amusing. Dr. Strike wants to know, what is your favorite AMA of all time?
Oh, man.
I have no idea.
What is my favorite AMA of all time? God, I don't even know. I don't even have an answer to that question.
I don't either.
It's not a bad question.
It's a great question. I have no idea. I can't even think of another AMA.
Yeah, no, like, now that you've said that out loud, I'm like, I have literally never heard another AMA in my entire life.
I definitely have. I've involved myself in some on, like, Reddit, and I can't even think of what they are now. So, this one. There.
Yeah. This is my favorite as well. Is that cheating?
All right. Commonplace Robot asks, favorite comic book story, character, or any music albums you think are a must-listen?
Music albums that are a must-listen. I don't know if it's a must-listen as much as a must-own. I believe that everybody should own Bob Marley's Legend. It's just that good. Oh God, this is a very long question. Can I answer this one next week? I have so much for this one.
Yeah, I have a lot for this too, but let's just narrow it down to one. And just gut reaction. Not like this is the ultimate one, but gut reaction. You said the Bob Marley one. Do you have another one?
Of music that everybody should listen to?
Just that you think is a must listen.
Music that I think is a must listen. Up from the 36 Chambers, which is the first Wu-Tang record. Rubber Soul from the Beatles. Bob Marley's Legend.
That's good enough.
Yeah, okay, dude, I really could. Yeah.
You'll keep going. I'm just gonna say, and this is just my gut reaction, I'm sure there's tons of better choices out there, but I will just say self-titled first album, Fountains of Wayne.
Oh God, that's really good too.
I think it's a gosh dang masterpiece. Or Bang Bang
Yeah.
by Dispatch. That's another top album for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Favorite
it's so
comic
good.
book story. That's hard. I really, really liked City Fall and the current IDW run of Ninja Turtles. I don't have the deepest of comic book histories. I haven't reread it in a long time, especially since, learning a lot more about the person. But Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men was, I remember it being spectacular. I just loved that. But those are the two that come out of the top of my head. And favorite comic book character? I've always loved Donatello, specifically the iteration from the IDW Ninja Turtles. He's always been my favorite. Based on the video game was where I really fell in love with him. But also I loved that he did machines on the original cartoon when I was a kid, and I loved his bow staff in the video games. And then he turned out to just genuinely be my favorite character in the modern run of Ninja Turtles comics. Or I was a big fan of Gambit when I was a kid. I loved X-Men so much when I was a kid. Like that cartoon was really what got me into it, and I loved Gambit on the show, and I thought he was pretty fun in the comics. And that's probably the best I got. I mean, Batman's great too, I guess.
If you like that sort of thing. God, this is another one where I've just got a whole lot.
We're almost done. We got
yeah, all right, I'll shut
three.
I'll
we
be
got
quick.
3 questions after this.
Favorite comic book character is Spider-Man.
Really, not
which
Sleepwalker.
Yeah, no, I love Sleepwalker, but come on, you're being serious. Be serious, would you?
Never.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. And then books that everybody should read. You should definitely read Court of the Owls.
Ooh,
which is
good
Batman.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, Court of the Owls is so fucking good.
Oh god, Court of the Owls is so good in that. And speaking of New 52, the fucking Azzarello Wonder Woman run.
Oh my God, that's also
shit,
brilliant.
that was good.
Um,
Oh, that was good.
you should read all of Frank Miller's Daredevil. That is all just astonishingly brilliant. Fucking all of Frank Miller's Batman stuff too. Like even the bad stuff, just so that you appreciate the good stuff that much more. Because The Dark Knight Returns is just staggering. Fables is crazy good. Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America. Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil. God, there's so much. There's so much. Somebody should do a comic book podcast.
Call it Bags and Boards.
We could. That's a good name, Chris.
If only you'd come up with it.
If
All
only I
right.
had come up with it.
Matt Much asks, what's your favorite kind of bread? We touched on that. But then Hi, I'm Drew, Scion Storm actually, responded with, what's your least favorite kind of bread?
Rye bread.
Really?
Yeah, not even a hesitation. That shit's fucking gross.
I love me some rye bread. I'm trying to think of like what kind of bread I really don't like. Besides moldy bread.
Fucking rye bread is disgusting.
I'm
Yeah,
having a hard time
I stand by it.
thinking. I just had corned beef sandwiches on rye bread all week last week. Shit's delicious. I love rye bread and a good pumpernickel. Good. I love bread. I can't think of a bread that I don't like. This is a problem.
It is a problem.
I like bread too much. I'm a certified loaf. Donut County's an amazing game.
That is a really good game. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a good question, and I really don't know what my least favorite. We're gonna have to do a bread podcast. We're gonna have to. We're just gonna have to bracket it.
Breadcast.
Bracket that shit. Oh boy! All right, and the last one we have from Bedroth the Chinbeard. If you had to adopt a kid from a video game, who would be your first and last picks?
Last pick would be Link, because he would break everything.
I love this question.
Who would I adopt? God, man.
All right, I got a last pick too.
Right,
and it's
who's
not
your
Link.
last pick?
My last pick is that fucking snot-nosed kid, the one with the snot hanging out of his nose from Wind Waker.
Oh yeah, fuck that kid. That kid
Snot
sucks.
hanging his. What are you doing? Leave me alone. You're creepy as shit.
I fucking hate you.
Either that or fucking Janice from Chrono Trigger. Creepy ass kid. One of you's gonna die. And he grows up to be an evil wizard. Like, I don't need that shit in my life.
No, for real, right? Oh, this is a wild question.
God, who would I adopt? I'm trying to think of kids I liked in video games.
The fucking kid from A Boy and His Blob. He seems sweet.
Oh, he seems great. You know who I would adopt? No question. The kid in Link's Awakening that's just like, you want to access your inventory, press B. I don't know what that means. I'm just a kid. Love that kid.
Yeah, I like that kid too. It's a good choice.
Love that kid. I'm trying to think of kids other than kids in Zelda games, and I'm just drawing a complete blank.
Yeah.
I'm also watching this woman on YouTube who just deep fried hot dogs. Then she took like a gigantic hunk of cheddar cheese. She took a rolling pin and rolled out a piece of white bread. Then she put the hot dog next to the cheddar cheese, wrapped the bread around it, held it together with some toothpicks, breaded the whole thing in egg wash, and breadcrumbs, and now she's deep frying that.
Mm.
I don't know
That
where this
seems
is
healthy.
going, but I'm into it.
I'm into it.
Another kid that I think that's I'm tapped out on other kids. Like, those little kids from Blossom Tales seem nice, but not enough to adopt them. Like,
No.
you know what? Maybe more than the snot-nosed kid. I think my last pick, and again, it's a fucking Zelda character, would be Mallow from Twilight Princess, the kid who opens the shop.
Yeah.
Like, that kid's awesome. I do not want that child.
No.
He is an awesome entrepreneur. I find him hysterical. Like, he opens the Mallow Mart and everything. That kid's out of his mind. He's like this baby with the mind of a 50-year-old business mogul. Amazing character.
Who's the one kid in the Castlevania games?
Maria?
Yeah. I would not adopt her. I feel like
Nah.
getting into some fucking shit.
Yeah, things would go south.
I'm gonna have to fucking fight vampires and shit. Like, I don't want to do that.
Well, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Sorry we
This
spent
is
so
my
much time
favorite
on that one.
AMA.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody. Thank you for this. A lot of fun.
Well done, clever old you.
Yeah. And now we're going to wrap up the show so I can go upstairs and organize my Switch games. I'm bringing that shit to bed, and that's what I'm doing. Instead of sleeping on time, I'm going to organize my Switch games into folders. I'm so excited. Anyway, that's our show.
Go to bed.
Farts, yeah, it's the end of the month, so next week is 10, 20, 30, 40.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to save Breadcast for the future. I feel like we should have guests on for that one.
Oh, God. Do you know how long that episode would be?
It's going
to be
enough.
long to begin with.
It is. But I feel like we need at least, come on. Should we at least try to get Ferg on, right? We
should at least try to get Ferg on, and I'm going to say this, and I don't care how anybody takes it, but, I don't mean it the way that some of you might take it. I feel like we need a Jew. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Can you do a Breadcast without a Jew?
I think, all right. I'm trying to think of any of my friends who are Jewish that would be willing to come on the podcast and are also bread experts. Like John Wentz, I might be able to get him on the show, but I don't think he has enough of a bread expertise. I don't even think he eats all that much bread.
Yeah, no, he's too skinny.
Yeah. He's way too healthy for that shit.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to put some thought into that. But anyway, next week's going to be the 10, 20, 30, 40.
Like fucking spam a lot. It's going to be great.
Jew, the Italian, and the redhead gay. Oh my god! Did you see that they reunited to do that online like a couple of years ago?
No, that's
they
awesome.
did the whole intro. It was amazing. If you've never seen The State, then you don't know what we're talking about. But if you are interested, just do a Google search for the Jew, the Italian, and the redhead gay.
It's very funny.
Some good comedy right there. Anyway, we're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes. I'm just thinking of the reality of dedicating an entire episode to bread.
I feel like that's got to be a very special episode of the Stone Age Gamer podcast. Like, that can't take the place of a regular show.
Like, if we had listeners, they'd just be leaving.
Yeah. Came from video game talk, and these dickheads are fucking talking about which one wins, pumpernickel or rye bread.
If you can't handle us at our breadiest, then you don't deserve us at our gamiest.
That's right.
Oh
you
boy!
Can't handle me at my yeast.
Oh,
you don't deserve me at my crest. I don't know. Does that work? Does bread crest? You don't deserve me at my crust.
Oh, anyway, take a look at our show notes. If you do, you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps us keep the show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by the ever-wonderful banjo guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. Finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. I'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.
Keep eating bread.